Now, if a child finds a cookie on the table, chances are they're going to eat it, even if it's made with marijuana. As more states have legalized the use of marijuana, it's not surprising that more children are being exposed, including by eating marijuana edibles. A research brief published in the journal Pediatrics found that between 2017 and 2019, there were over 4,000 calls to regional poison control centers about exposures to cannabis in babies and children through age 9. About half of these calls were related to edibles. Now, the frequency of these calls and the percentage related to edibles went up over the 2-year period. Not surprisingly, the exposures were about twice as common in states where marijuana use is legal than those where it is not. And in nearly all the cases reported, exposure occurred in the home of the child. The most common age group involved was 3 to 5-year-olds, which makes sense. This is the age where they're old enough for parents to take their eyes off of them for a minute or two, but not old enough to understand why they shouldn't eat that brownie, gummy bear, or piece of chocolate. Thankfully, the effects of these exposures were mostly minor, but in 15% they were moderate, and in 1.4% they were severe. And in rare cases, significant ingestion can lead to trouble breathing or even coma. See, that's the problem with edibles. It's hard to know how much cannabis is in each one. It's easy to ingest a lot, and the effects can last a long time. It's important to remember, too, that this was just studies of calls to poison centers. It's impossible to know how many exposures there have been that were never reported, including how many went completely unnoticed by parents or caregivers. Many agree that there will need to be some regulation around labeling and child-safe packaging, but as an immediate step, parents and others shouldn't buy marijuana edibles that might appeal to children. And if you do buy marijuana edibles or any kind of marijuana product at that, since children are curious and even hungry, they need to be stored securely, out of reach, always. And when parents bring their children to visit friends, it may be a good idea to add marijuana edibles to the list of safety issues to talk about. Think of something along the lines of, hey, our daughter or son, they're still a little curious, so we'd like to ask about things like matches, guns, medications, marijuana edibles, or other things that might be dangerous for him or her if she gets into them. Is there anything that might be in their reach? As a parent myself, it might be a little awkward, but if you make it quick and routine, you can decrease the awkwardness. And ultimately, it's worth a bit of awkwardness to keep our children safe.